is president. Two disturbing stories came out this week. First is from Politico. Under pressure from Biden, Israel agrees to implement humanitarian pauses. It's taken a little longer than I hoped. President Joe Biden told reporters of his discussions with Israel. This would indicate that 30 days ago, when Joe Biden and Secretary of State Anthony Blinken flew to Israel, what we were told was a lie. The entire trip was a sham. They traveled to Israel not to offer unconditional support to our ally Israel, but to pressure Israel to give Hamas a victory. Any kind of pause in the offensive against the Gaza Strip is a victory for Hamas. Worse, it sends the signal that their unprovoked attacks slaughtering Israeli civilians, children, the elderly, women, was not only successful, but the message that this sends to Hamas, thanks to the pressure of President Biden, is that they should repeat such terrorist attacks until they eliminate Israel for good. We were lied to a month ago when Joe Biden flew to Israel. And can you think of any other circumstances where a president of the United States wouldn't trust his own State Department that he could make a phone call and convey the same information to Israel? No. He had to fly there in person and either beg or threaten Israel to say, let Hamas get a victory. You don't need to defend yourselves when your innocents are slaughtered. Whether it was a threat or a begging mission, either way it doesn't look good for Joe Biden. The other story is much more disturbing. This is from CNN. Emotions are running high at the White House as some aides' frustration with Israel is growing. And look at that picture they picked of Biden. Not the most flattering portrait, is it? 1 month into the Israel-Hamas war, which is the Hamas-Israel war, some senior officials privately say there are aspects of Israel's military operations they simply cannot stomach defending. Calls for the U.S. to back a ceasefire are growing among government employees, and others are distraught by the incessant images of Palestinian civilians being killed by Israel. It has created great moral anxiety, said one senior administration official, but no one can say it because we all work at the pleasure of the president. Think about this for a moment. If you are a member of President Joe Biden's staff, your only role is to say, yes, sir, and implement his policy. This story would seem to indicate that Joe Biden is not really president. Does his staff and lawyers really run the White House? Was he told on the first day he took office that he would be allowed to sign documents and perform speeches, but in reality, shadowy figures in the background would really be the president and running the Biden administration? This article is worse than the other one because it implies Joe Biden does not call the shots in his own White House.